like a lily on a lake. Talk about the bird learning how to fly, making all the music he can make. Happy talk, keep talking happy talk. Talk about things you like to do. You got to have a dream. If you don't have a dream, how you gonna have a dream come true? Let's talk about the star, looking like a toy, peeking through the branches of a tree. Talk about the girl, talk about the boy, counting all the ripples on the sea. Happy talk, keep talking happy talk. Talk about things you'd like to do. You got to have a dream. If you don't have a dream, how you gonna make a dream come true? Saying to the girl, golly baby, I'm a lucky cuss. Talk about the girl, saying to the boy, you and me are lucky to be us. Happy talk, keep talking happy talk. Talk about things you'd like to do. You got to have a dream. If you don't have a dream, how you gonna make a dream come true? And if you don't talk happy and you never have a dream, then you'll never have a dream come true.
Well, hello, good afternoon. How the devil are you? What a terrible day yesterday, but today is a new day. And I believe we will be on a rapid peak in this country when it comes to the dangers of Islam. It's been something that myself and many people have been talking about. It's not brand new. You all know it. You all know it's the things that you can't say. The stabbing of those people yesterday, the Jews in the synagogue. It's not as bad as if you talk about it. Talk about the potential reasons for it. Don't talk about it. For fuck's sake, don't talk about it. We are in a state in this country. A man burns a book. He's a very naughty man. He gets some harsh punishment for that. Woman says some words on Facebook. She goes to prison for that. In fact, the judge is just so happy about sending her to prison. Oh, he couldn't wait. He was so ecstatic. Really, you could feel the power. Man, stabby. You know the man that stabbed someone for the Quran, right? You know that man. So he did stabby. I want to kill you. I think his words were. Suspended sentence. Rape. You can rape lots of girls, children, underage. Girls. You can rape them. And in fact, it can be like a community activity almost, a bit like bingo, but a lot worse than bingo. Yeah, really, a lot worse than bingo. So that can be like a family community activity of torturing, raping, passing around girls. But don't talk about who's doing the raping, because that would make you racist. Don't talk about it. It's far worse to talk about it than it is to do it every time. Obviously, yesterday was a terrible day for Muslims in Britain. Really bad. Like, we must all think of the Muslims. And I think after the 7/7 bombings, it was like, oh, make sure your Muslim friend is okay or neighbor is okay. Go and sit next to them on a bus. That's a fucking great idea, that is. And all the time, I tell you what will happen in the next week or so. We'll be reminded, like when the pro-Palestine Hamas marches started on the streets, and I remember seeing a huge gathering, not knowing what it was, thinking, I don't recognize that flag. I don't recognize that country flag. I've never seen it before. Probably because I have blinkers on, but I've never seen it before. And there's all these weird people. What is this? Smacking themselves on the chest. What is that weirdo? Weird. What the hell is that? That's demented. And seeing that, and obviously you can't say it's demented. It is demented. If you saw anybody doing that and they didn't say, oh, that's a religious reason, you'd think they are demented. They are insane, weird people. Oh my God, that's so embarrassing. I can't believe that's happening in 2025. That's how you'd say it. Someone having to pray 5 times a day, repeating the kind of you would say if this was a modern if this happened now, like in Scientology, if you find out that they were having to do this ritualistic 5 times a day, repeating the same things, kids in schools getting smacked across the head for not learning these things, these verses, learning them off by heart, off by heart, off by heart, repeated. It's like linguistic programming. You would say that is a brainwashing cult. You would say that. All these things. Anyway, what's going to happen over the next few weeks is we're going to have, there's been a rise of attacks on Muslims. That there really is a war on Muslims in this country. People are feeling Islamophobia. Yeah, because all the stabbings and all the taking up of the streets and all the people coming out to pray in places that are previously sacred to us, like the Abbey, Westminster Abbey, and there were some men outside there praying. And you can visibly see, unlike other people, and maybe this is one of the reasons we have an issue, aside from the culture, with Islam in this country, is that you can see somebody who is a Muslim. And if they say Muslim, you can see somebody that is a Muslim. You can see them a mile off because they wear a different kind of uniform on a daily basis. Now, not all of them, clearly, not everyone who is Muslim. You can't see all of them because not everybody, but those that you can see are very, very visible. And it might be a covered face. Like, that's something we don't want to see. But there's all these things that we notice that we don't like very much. And by we, I mean born and bred. By we, I mean people that live, citizens of the United Kingdom. People that are here because they were either born here or because they really, really want to be here because they like the country and the culture and the opportunity. Right? That's who I mean when I say we. And what we don't like, and I will include other people who, every day who are immigrants to this country who also don't like what's happening to this country. Like, they moved here because we were a certain something, whatever it is that you might say we are. That's why they moved here, because that's what they like about this country. And they're saying they don't feel that that thing is happening anymore. I don't know what to tell you people. But talking about men blocking pavements, praying as a show of power, as an exhibition of look what we can do, and there's nothing you can do about it. That flex is not as bad as me talking about it. Me talking about it makes me a racist bigot. That's what me talking about it does. And this idea as well that all religions are equal. I get it sometimes in the comments where someone goes, yeah, Christianity, blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay. Well, find me like 10 incidents in the last 2 years of a suicide Christian bomber. Just in fact, find me one. Find me some sort of Buddhist terrorism cell that is on the watch list in the United Kingdom, or Hindu, or Sikh, or atheist. But we have to start talking about these things because they have made it dangerous to talk about. And if we allow them to prevent us from speaking about it, we are screwed. And look, some of you are getting annoyed because you think you're tuning in for penises and sterilizing kids on a daily. But I just feel that I want to talk about this. And I think we should all be talking about it. I think in light of what happened yesterday, it is breathtaking that we aren't talking about it. And then that last night, and all day yesterday, because the pally twats couldn't have a day off, could they? They had to suddenly talk about Greta, climate change, but not if I'm on a flotilla. Thunberg. We have to talk about her. And she's not a little girl anymore. She's a fully grown, kind of nasty adult, horrible anti-Semite. And she got arrested, which is exactly what she wanted. She was on a social media click mission, and she got what she wanted. She got arrested, I think, or something. Not torpedoed, but arrested or something. And then they decided to protest about that. A man was called Jihad the Syrian. Oh, okay. So you're on the form, and what's your son's name? Because you want to come in the UK. His name's Jihad, is it? Oh, you can't come in. No, no. Well, funnily enough, last week we had a small child called Holocaust, and we didn't let him in either. So no, Jihad, no, you can't come in. Neither with your son Adolf or Stalin. None of you are coming in. So I'm ever so sorry about that. So it's very odd that these people weren't seen as some sort of massive giant red flag. And yet here we are. Here we are. It's really odd that in our country at the moment, it's not odd. It's sinister. It's really sinister that the thing that we're getting attacked for all the time, whilst we're being screwed with the things that we want to talk about, is our speech is being taken away. And it feels like the more they try and limit our speech, the worse the things are happening. And so it's your duty to talk about it. Like I'd like to not be talking about Islam as a force for death. I'd like to be talking like that, but I can't because it is. I'd like to not say that the majority of female genital mutilation in this country is done by Muslims. I'd like to not say that I think that is actually something that Islam has transported across the world. I'd like not to say that, but I have to say that because it's true. I'd like not to say that there is lots of abuse within the Sharia court system, which is a supposed religious church. But when your religion is also bound in your culture, your political system, your sort of community as a whole, and it's like a really prescriptive way to live your life, and women in this country are really damned by Sharia court. So I'd like not to be able to talk about that as a problem with Islam, but it is a problem with Islam. Um, Having sex with your cousin and procreating and marrying your cousin is a problem in Islam. Having high levels of children with deformities and special needs is a problem, specifically with Islam on the basis that they have children with their cousins. And also that when you do that, when you have children with your cousins, when you have that sort of level of inbreeding, which will not just be you. So every time you do that, you lose like a substantial number of IQ points. Now imagine if that's your mother and father and their mother and father and their mother and father. Like we have a point, all of us have a point at which we've probably got let's say you go back for like 5 generations, you've got 2 grandparents, and it basically, your gene pool spreads and spreads and spreads. And now imagine it doesn't. And it's 2 and then 2 and then 2. Like your cousins marry and then cousins, and the overlap and the lack of genetic kind of diversity in your gene pool. So we have we have got to we've got to start speaking up about it. Now there will be people that are, and I know everybody said there aren't, and I know there are very few, but there will be educated people who are also Muslim who don't do these things, but they're not very loud against the things that are happening in their own communities, and hasn't been a reformation of Islam, and so we are still stuck with the Jews are, what is it, monkeys and apes and swine. And who is it? Mehdi Hussein talked about how non-Muslims are animals. And then I showed you the stuff in the mosques where it's like, kill us all. Come on. It's totally nuts that we're allowing this to go on. And we wouldn't allow it if it was happening with people who carry the St. George cross or the Union flag. In fact, I'm telling you now, you would have if that was that yesterday, if it was a person yesterday who they could associate with Tommy Robinson and the 13th of September, if they could associate with them with that, you would be bored of the far right today, because that's all everybody would talk about. So why is it when a sustained amount of violence happens from one religion and community, whether it's rape, whether it's misogyny, whether it's marrying underage girls, whether it's terrorism, whether it's genocide, whatever it is, why is it when it is specific to one religion, one global cult, 95% of all terror attacks and terror groups have their roots in Islam? Why is it that we can't talk about that? Why is it that our courts are lenient when people do obscene acts of violence in the name of Islam? Why is it? It's totally bonkers. And I'm gonna suggest this, that actually you cannot be a devout Muslim without being quite a dangerous individual. I'm just going to say it. You can't both be an adherent Muslim and not hate Jews and Christians and anybody else who's not a Muslim. There is a part of the Islamic faith which is that you have to misrepresent. You can lie if it means protecting Islam. We don't want it to be true because we think that other people are like us, and then they're not. They're just not. When Charlie Hebdo staff were gunned down in their place of work, people celebrated. Muslims all over Europe celebrated. This is not the way that we behave. I don't think I like the idea of restricting some of the things that I think are part of a free and democratic society. But if you have people within that society, a large number of people within that society, who use those freedoms in order to destroy those freedoms, then you have to ask yourself, what do we have to do to stop it? Do we have to ban prayer in the street? Like we banned single people silently praying outside of an abortion clinic. Now, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I think that's terrible. I think it's terrible. However, do I think that we need to have a look at. People praying in the street. Do I think we need to think about ensuring that we never allow the call to prayer in this country? And that actually, do you want to save this country? And if you do, maybe you should get your ass to church. Now, not because you're religious, but because if you don't go to those churches, they won't exist. And then one day you wake up and there are no churches. There are no Christian churches. And look, Christianity is trying to destroy itself. It's trying to adapt. It's trying to go with the times. It's trying to be all kind of weak. And I am not religious. I don't think I could ever believe in, I can't have a faith because I don't have a faith. But I do think you're going to have to start doing some things to change and save our culture, because it will disappear. And I hate having to talk like this because you don't want it to be true, but it is true. But this idea that pavements can be blocked by a group of men praying in the street, that we are so foolish. And I don't know, I don't know who's benefiting from this. I'm guessing it's all GDP stuff and votes. But those people that went out and started really fighting with the police in London, I haven't seen the rush to condemn them like the mostly peaceful, apart from, I think there were 25 arrests, and out of those 25 arrests at the Unite the Kingdom March, I think only 8 of them were the Unite the Kingdom March people. And I think the other arrests were to do with the the counter protest. So we are not the same. We're just not the same. I don't think non-Muslims have any idea about what goes on and how we are seen. And the really dark forces like the Muslim Brotherhood, that, you know, there are countries in the Middle East that have warned us all about the Muslim Brotherhood and what it brings. But my central point today is that we have to talk about these things. We just have to. We have to make it okay to talk about these things. And we have to be, look, you have to be very careful. You have to be very careful for a number of reasons, because I would imagine it can be very easy to go from Islam is very harmful to something really terrifying. Words coming out of your mouth that you don't mean, don't want to say, and genuinely dehumanize people, and we don't want to be that. So you do have to stick to the truth. But unfortunately, the truth is pretty damning. It's just pretty damning. We need to get rid of the Muslim Brotherhood out of this country completely. I think they're banned in many Arab countries, because some of the Arab countries totally understand what it means. I'm not saying those Arab countries are countries that I would ever want to visit or live in, but it's just crazy. It's just crazy what we tolerate. Let's just have a look at what's happening to this country. Michelle Dewberry shared this.
I think people don't want answers about the local white boy who's done this that you are unaware of.
Because it's not known. If I don't know about it, how am I supposed to have an opinion on it or be able to ask questions? I don't have an answer to that. I'm trying my hardest to bring community cohesion. I've been overwhelmed with the contacts I've had from people within Falkirk. And, you know, there is a true unrest, and it's scary. It's scary as a local resident, somebody who's born and bred here. I shouldn't have said that.
Well, do you see why this is people sometimes think that reform are very much against having people
That just
here.
came out.
Fuck off. She can say she's born and bred somewhere. You wouldn't, like, if she was a black woman and she said, I'm born and bred here, you wouldn't say, do you see why people think you're, what an arsehole.
It just came out, just...
That's unfortunate for you, I guess, but
Yeah.
ultimately, do you see why people who aren't from here, who have maybe made their home here, are annoyed when they hear an elected official say that people are born and bred here? I think people don't want answers about the local white boy who's done.
Mad. So we need to insist on actual integration. I don't know about that. I think we just need to make sure that the people live here, actually want to be here, are net positive. It's the time's up. We don't. I think if we want to help people, we'll help them in their own countries. And if you want to come and live here, or even if you're born here, if you want to live in a country that is tolerant and fair and just and treats people equally, then this is the place that I think you should come and live. And I think you should be welcome. And I think you need to work. And I don't think you should come here and not contribute. And if you don't contribute, I don't think you should stay here. I don't think you should be a burden to the people in this country. And that includes anyone. I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care what race. I don't care what culture you are. I don't care. But if you want to live in this country and you don't want to live by our rules, then I don't want you to live here. And if we could deport born and bred rapists, then I would. I'd find a nice little island and deport them all. I'm really not that fussy. But this idea that we're all tolerant and fair, and therefore the people that we are tolerant and fair about are also tolerant and fair, is just a nonsense. It's just an absolute nonsense. I don't know what else to tell you. Yeah. The ethno-nationalist conversation that's going on, I totally disagree with. I just totally disagree with that. I don't think it actually matters. And I think that that probably makes a difference because I'm a mother, and any one of my grandchildren could be anything. Like, so I would be a fool if I wanted to put any give any sucker to the idea that British means white. It doesn't. But when it comes to ethnicity, I think that if you can have an ethnic minority, then we are an ethnicity, right? We're an ethnic majority. And that would probably be white British in England. So, or English, rather, not white British, English in England. Like, that's surely the way it goes. I mean, I don't like putting white British on anything. I like to put English if it says what I am. Ethno-nationalism isn't about colour. I think it is. I think it is about colour. Well, that's what I've understood it, because ethno-nationalists that I've known have been white supremacists. I mean, I've only known one, to be fair. I've only met one. And he also hated Jews, and he was a disgusting human being. Anyway, I digress. Anyway, we have to talk about these things because it's mad. As a woman born and bred in the Southwest, I'm just going to tell you. I'm just reading this. I'm going to read about ethno-nationalists. I'm sure it's about ethnicity. I'm sure it's about whiteness, but we shall see. Anyway, I'm not that. Not in a month of Sundays. And I think we all really love. I don't think diversity is our strength, but I don't think it is our weakness either. I think it just is a thing. I don't think just because, like, it's weird when you hear when you hear someone talk about London, when you hear Khan talk about London, and he says, "Oh, you know, the best thing about London is our diversity in 300 languages." How can that be the best thing about a city? That's ridiculous. Um, very ridiculous. So, look, I already get accused of being everything, so I might as well just say what I want, and I think we all should. And I think we should be able to say what we want, and have these difficult conversations. Because if we don't have them now, and we maybe should have had them 10 years ago, but if we don't have them now, we are really fucked. Really, really fucked. And even that woman saying born and bred suddenly felt really worried that she was going to get cancelled. You know, she was frightened. You could see she was frightened that she thought, "Oh my God, my political career is over for saying born and bred." And it's terrible. Absolute terrible. Anyway, if you oh, if you wanna buy this, by the way, it's 25% off. Let me show you what it is. It's the only way I make anything. Unlike pretty much everybody else, I'm not allowed to make money from, YouTube or Twitter or anywhere really. So if you want one of these, this is cream, so it's very nice. And then yesterday, I was wearing my new favorite aquamarine, which is not that. I mean, that's great as well. Where is it? Oh, I'm a bit annoyed about that. These are all. So we've got a new holographic thing on here. Is that it? You can kind of see it there. Um, yeah, go and get yourself one of those. They're 25% off this weekend only. So go and buy yourself a hoodie. They are, I'm not going to lie, these. So this has got two separate pockets because it's oversized, and this is an extra, extra small. But those others have got like a kangaroo pocket, and they're they're the softest thing you'll have in your wardrobe, I promise. So we've got, oh, that's Nick, holographic. We've got quite a few brand new things in store. Go and check them out, and then I can afford to have security now that I'm poking this particular bear. Anyway, got to keep talking, got to keep speaking about this evil. Because I don't know about you, but I have hushed conversations with people where they all say that they're very frightened about Islam and what it's doing to this country and the rise of an anti-Semitism as Islam and the left get in bed together. Anyway, if you can talk about that and have no fear, then I promise we will win. If you can, I'm just reading the comments. If you can just recognize the truth and stop doing the thing that I probably have done in this conversation of stopping yourself saying the things that need to be said, of sort of self-censoring the whole time, then I promise we will win. And do you know why else we're going to win? Welcome, Daniel. Do you know why else we're going to win? Well, because I never lose.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces, bright and early for their daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere. Their tears are filling up their glasses, no expression, no expression. Hide my head, I wanna drown my sorrow. No tomorrow,
sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very